to another edition of Be the Change Georgia, where we amplify the voices of the inspiring business leaders surrounding the B Corp and social impact movements across the Southeast to help you learn how to build your legacy at the intersection of people, planet, purpose, and profit. Today, there are more than 8,000 B Corps in over 80 countries and 180 different industries, unified by one common goal: transforming the global economy to benefit all people, communities, and the planet. If you want to learn how to plug into our purpose-driven business community alongside the inspiring leaders we feature on this show, check us out at belocalgeorgia.com or on Instagram or Facebook at belocalgeorgia, and we'll hope to meet you at our next event. Today, you'll have the opportunity to learn from Mohamed Massaquoi, Managing Principal at VESSOL, a leadership development firm specializing in guiding organizations through transformative change. Mo is a former standout wide receiver for the University of Georgia Bulldogs and also played in the NFL for the Cleveland Browns. Now, as a leadership advisor, organizational psychologist, and former NFL wide receiver, his work is rooted in team culture, performance, and change. He draws on his incredible life experiences, including navigating career transitions and recovering from a life-altering accident, to help leaders and teams build resilience and thrive through change. In our conversation, Mo shares his powerful journey of navigating life after football, the unique power he's developed to tell authentic stories, and how he's redefined success beyond traditional metrics. Stay tuned to hear Mo's incredible insights on leadership, resilience, and finding your purpose even when life throws you curveballs. Enjoy. Mohamed Massaquoi, welcome to Be the Change Georgia. How's it going, my man?
It's going great, man. Good to see you.
How's you as well. For you? Yeah, man. Everything's good on this end. I'm excited to finally get you on the podcast, though. I know it's funny because we run in the same circles and we didn't finally meet, like all these like mutual connections when I think on LinkedIn it was like 100 and something. And then we finally connected at a UGA Executive Ed event with Beringer Ingelheim. It was very happenstance, but I'm glad our circles finally met up.
All things work when they're supposed to.
That's true too. So, well, anyway, man, excited to have you on. Excited to kind of unpack your story, talk leadership, talk all things good business, purpose, meaning, all those good things. So, yeah, man, let's get into it.
Sure thing. Let's go.
So, for those who don't know, Mo was a football player. For those who've been under a rock or don't have a UGA connection like I do. So you high school, you played for like a historically awesome high school football program. Then you went to what the alum would say is a historically awesome college program at UGA. And then you played in the NFL. But for us, like, I'm really interested in like the why behind the person. So can you share with us some moments from your early journey when you first started to realize that you had these leadership capabilities? Like, obviously a team sport, it probably comes out a little bit more than other facets of life. But when did you start to first realize that? And when did you start to realize also that your leadership qualities could be used as a force for good, not only in football, but in life after football?
Yeah. So I think some of it is just, how I was raised, just to care about others and want the best for them. And being an athlete and being on teams, you want your team to win, and you want your teammates to do well. And so I think it's just a combination of those things, of just being around people and seeing that they have potential and pushing them. And I'm super competitive. And so the people around me, I want to be competitive as well and try. I don't like losing. And so I think that's a lot of, we all are in this thing together. Let's win together.
It's funny you say that, because I never liked to play board games. And then my wife got me into playing board games. And then I realized, like, I don't care what it is. I just want to win. So like the sheer, and like where you have to almost check yourself, where you're like, it's game night with friends. Like you can be an okay loser.
Yeah. I'm a good sport, but I still want to win, unless it's instructional to you're teaching somebody else or you're bringing somebody else. If it's competition, if it's not competition, then it's more for the sport of just enjoying company or development.
Yeah, when it comes time to make the move though that wins the game, you're like, sorry, sister-in-law.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
and
playing this card right now. Um, what so some of the like the upbringing you mentioned. So you have a unique life story. I mean, not I wouldn't say unique in America because a lot of people come from somewhere else, but you have the Liberian background, you moved around a lot. Like how did that influence too? Like your and I guess at some point too, where did team sports give you that? Like, did it give you like the home that you needed, or I'm just kind of like talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, so I was born in America, but spent the first few years of life in Liberia, and just a bubble that we existed in was very Liberian, and so just culturally, I feel like that's how I was raised. But being, I guess, in between two worlds, I would say I'm very observant of um, what's taking place in one that doesn't take place in the other, and vice versa. And so that just kind of sparked my curiosity of just like how people exist. And then when you're moving around a lot, it's not like you have this continuous stream of experience. You're here, then you're in Chicago, then you're in somewhere else, then you're moved around, and you're in another, part of town. And when you're doing that, you become very adaptable and very observant, just to understand the norms and what things are taking place. I think that's helped me a lot in the world that I'm in now because I try not to make assumptions because you don't know. I don't think you can understand culture or situational awareness from a distance. You got to kind of be up and intimate with it. And I think those early childhood experiences gave me a little insight into that.
That's so like literally that was like you just broke the glass for me where I've it's very similarly like lived in all these different places and almost to a certain extent you feel like you're not from anywhere because you're not like you're not like oh my family's fourth generation from Pittsburgh or Cleveland or one of these places and you're just like well my mom was from this place and then we lived here and then we moved here and then we moved there and some of the observations like maybe that there is something to be said for the I don't want to say adaptability, but the ability to like kind of mirror the people you're around too, to just like you have to kind of have to figure out how to fit in real quick.
Yes, and I think as I've gotten older, I know who I am, and so I am very respectful of the environment that I'm in, but not necessarily trying to mold and shape to the environment that I'm in. I try to bring myself, and I think a lot of that is just really, once again, being rooted in um, just how I was raised, where very clear of who I was, where my family was from, some of the things that we value, in not being altered if you're in a different environment or get out of that environment if it isn't the one you're supposed to be in.
Yeah, it's a good life lesson for people too to like kind of the older you get, the more true you are to who you are. I think there's just something where and you become I don't know like prouder of the places and the things and the people that made you who you are where you just kind of own it and it's like I don't need to fit in. I'll fit in my own way, which is authentically being me.
1000%. There's a slice of area for everybody that walks this planet. So you just find what you need.
Worst case scenario, shut up and ask some questions and learn about them. It'll work out.
Exactly.
So let's talk about like so you go from high school standout, you go to UGA, you have a pretty awesome career. You get drafted. And I remember talking to Rennie, and you and Rennie were on the same teams at UGA, and Rennie and I kind of had this conversation. I mean, that everybody has a transition, but I don't think there's any transition. Like, I mean, and even we joked on the planning call, like, I remember my last high school baseball game and thinking, is this it? So I can't even pretend to empathize with the all the way to the pros and then kind of, is this it? But talk about that like murky middle of like the transitioning out of like the one thing that even if it wasn't who you knew you were, but everybody knows you as. Talk about like that murky middle, that transition, and kind of figuring out like what comes next for Mo.
Yeah, I mean, I think what people don't always comprehend is that, people say don't put your eggs in one basket. And they usually say that for specialized occupations. Nobody says that if somebody's pursuing law or a doctor or, teaching. It's like, because you can do that for a very long time. And the thing that is very tricky is that the belief that athletes have in themselves to play at that level and then make it to that level. And so you actually accomplish the thing that you want. unfortunately, the lifespan of it isn't one that you can, retire at 75. And so you go from the highest of highs essentially to the lowest of lows, because you got to figure it out. Regardless if you have resources or you have a network, you still don't know enough about what you need to know to make that transition. And so you go from, I don't know, you're playing in front of 100,000, 90,000, millions of people watching at home, and then you're trying to learn, the skill set with somebody that's fresh out of college, or you don't even know the skill set to learn. And that is just, mentally very frustrating to someone that is, used to functioning at a high level, that whatever that transition is complicated. But if you steward that in the right way and you develop that in the right way, then you're kind of able to leapfrog over some of the obstacles once you start to put all the competitive drive and discipline and all that other stuff on top of it.
The things that made you a successful athlete, just apply those.
They're highly transferable. And I don't think that's just for athletes. It's the military person. It's the mom that's used to doing certain things. It's the person that's with a disability that's had to overcome certain challenges. It's like whoever has had a unique background, I think they can leverage that in a million different ways for the next chapter.
How did because you started, I think you had a couple like first jobs after football. And you mentioned something that stood out on the planning call, that you talked about choosing the thing now rather than letting it choose you. So can you explain kind of what you meant by that?
Yeah, so I think when you're leaving something, you don't know enough about the world, and so you're trying a lot of different things, which I think is good. Just discovery. You want to have options, or at least explore your options, so you don't niche down too quickly and end up in the wrong spot. But then there are some things that look good on the surface, or somebody may say, "Hey, Nathan, you may be good at X, Y, Z," and you in your heart you don't feel it, but you're like, "Hey, I just kind of need to do something now to pass the time." But that takes you away from actually discovering the thing that you want to do ultimately and starting to make progress on that. And so it's a very slippery slope of, do I take the opportunity now, or do I really discover what I want? And I think a lot of times people know directionally where they want to head, but they don't know how to enter into it. So I want to be in sports. That can mean a million different things, whether it's on the field, off the field, on the partnership side, on the medical side, on the apparel side, on the nutrition side. And so it's the lack of understanding of how to enter in something. And that person may go enter into a field that makes absolutely no sense for them.
That's super interesting. And I think it's something cool to call out for like younger listeners too. Like, I think the thing you're touching on too is, and as you get older, it becomes so much clearer and obvious, but that like, when you're like, I don't think this is right, like it's your gut telling you this isn't right for you. Like, but you kind of brush it off, and I think as you get older, you become a little bit more confident, and you've probably gone against your gut enough times and been proven wrong. That I think we intrinsically or just quite intuitively start to listen more. But I think there's something there that I wish young people just trust your gut after a while. Maybe pay to make a couple mistakes, but after that, your gut's usually right.
Yeah, and then, I mean, young, old, we all do it, and sometimes the reasons are our ego, sometimes it's our pride, sometimes it's the optics, sometimes it's the salary. It's a lot of different things, but there are ways to recreate everything you want and more, once you kind of dial in and you understand. But even in saying that, no experience is wasted. It just may take you a couple more steps to get to where you want to get to, and then once you get there, you have experiences and viewpoints that other people may not have based off of some of the decisions you made.
Yeah, I mean, you can learn a lot. I won't even call it failure, but some of those wrong paths, even the little bit of that path you took in the 9 months at this job or whatever that we've all had, you're like, hey, I learned how that industry works. So like, take that with you, but also learn that that's not the industry for me.
1000%. And then hopefully you don't keep making that same mistake, and so that you're not, 5 years and you've had 6, 7 jobs. Hopefully we're starting to dial it in, a little quicker.
That's where you do what I did. And you're like, I'm going to go get an MBA now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hit the reset on the resume.
Yeah. When all fails.
Yeah, just go back to school. Um, so you you've mentioned to me several times like that like you aren't the biggest talker in the world. You weren't the loudest guy in the locker room, like shaking lockers and getting people revved up. But you're kind of a lead by example guy. But yet you've transitioned to this career now where, I mean, you have a consulting business, but you do a lot of public speaking. That's how we met. You were coming to kind of close out this cohort that we were doing with Exec Ed at UGA. How has it empowered you to get on stage and share your story? Like, I mean, all of like, again, like you have that unique story all the way back to childhood and the moving around and football and then life after football and the accident, like all this stuff has happened. Like, what have you learned about yourself from just getting on stage and sharing that story? And what are you hoping to kind of impart to others when you get on stage and share that story?
Yeah, something that I've become aware of later in life. I think most people that know me, my temperament is somewhere around where it is right now. It's more excitable when I'm playing or doing something active, but just baseline is kind of super chill, laid back. And I remember we had a guy, Monterio Hardesty, that he's from North Carolina, played him in youth league. He's from the Outer Banks, played him in high school, played against him. We were on the same team in Cleveland. And he used to always say, yeah, like the guy just like wouldn't talk. And, and even, one of my buddies from college, Hagen Hearn, he was like, man, it's kind of ironic that, you're a team captain and you've never really been a rah-rah guy. But I think that, certain opportunities require you to get out of your comfort and your norm to really thrive in it. And so I get blessed with the opportunity to speak around the world, especially when people are going through challenges and change. And I've found my voice, and so I'm not going to get on stage and be inauthentic to myself. But you approach it similar to sports, where if I am in front of all these individuals, I want to do my best and I want to not waste their time and I want to perform at the level that this platform requires because somebody is sitting in those seats and I don't want to waste their time and somebody's investing, a lot of resources to have this go well. And so I want to make sure that they get a great, return on that investment. And so you just learn how to perfect your craft. And, there's times where it's like, oh, I'm somewhat nervous or have anxiety, or I really got to bring my energy up here. But that's what preparation's for, so that I've gone through almost a million scenarios and I'm not doing anything cold. So that if there is something that needs to be troubleshot, it's already been accounted for, a million different ways. And so that kind of eases any fear or anxiety. And the practice is what helps really thrive on any platform, when required.
You've done a TED Talk, right?
No, I haven't.
You haven't done even like TEDx UGA? Come on, man. We got to get you on
No, I
stage.
haven't. I'll get to it one of these days.
Well, when you were talking about prepping and like I was like, okay, because you have to have that thing memorized. And like most of the speeches you get on stage, and I'm sure you're like me, like I might have a couple little notes or a couple prompts on the podium, but like that one, like there's nothing. You're just 18 minutes and straight memorization. So like you were like talking about like the practice and the perfection, and it's amazing, man. You should do it. It's a great, and it's a for a speaker, it's an incredible challenge, I think, to be able to master that. And your all the little inflection points and the parts where you're like, hold for laughter, hope for laughter.
Yeah. It's funny. Like I didn't know people use notes for a long time. It was just like, it was the craziest thing. With the first time when someone was like, hey, do you have any notes that you want to put on your slides? And I would just always say, no, I didn't know what they meant. And then you get on some of these bigger stages and you see people just almost verbatim, they have the notes. And, you just try to pride yourself on, once again, being able to know this thing in and out, because I've had situations where the AV isn't working or the slides aren't coming up or there's a glitch and you don't have slides, you don't have notes, you don't have anything. And so I don't want to be caught in the crossfire if something's happened on where I can't do what I need to do. And then there's sometimes where you think you should take this is completely different than something you just learned 24 hours ago or you learned on stage. And so you got to know enough about what is taking place to be able to adapt in real time. So it's not dated and it's fresh, and it actually pierces the hearts, minds, emotions of the people in ways that add value to whatever problem they're trying to solve.
Why is that so important? Like the storytelling component for you? Like why? And I mean, I get it as a speaker. A, we're being paid most of the time, so there's a delivery promise that we feel obligated to pull. But like you're hitting on something that hits it with me of that like man, I love getting that like LinkedIn note, like, hey, what you said, or like even before we came on, Quentin thanked you for last week at the High Tech Prayer Breakfast, like that what you said resonated with him. Like, what is that power of storytelling? Like, why is that so important when you take the stage?
I mean, there's multiple reasons. I think stories are the most effective ways that we learn. I heard, I think 7 to 22 times more memorable if it comes in a story form. Even if you think of parables, if you think of proverbs that have been passed down generations, they're all stories, and the accuracy of those stories, the intention of those stories, the meaning of those stories, can really shape how you move. The when you're going through something real, not like, hey, I'm having a bad day, but when you're, at a low point or you're at a crucial decision, you don't want fluff. I've been there where, whether it's the accident or in ball or stress or life or whatever, you want somebody that can actually speak directly to what is taking place. And you can feel if it's inauthentic, you can feel if they're unprepared, if they're not passionate. And so I've been on the other side of that. I never want to have that experience to someone else. And so it's highly important that if someone once again trusts me with their time, that I don't waste it. I think time is one of the most valuable things, especially when you have like a near death accident. You just understand that I don't know what could happen, and so I want to make sure that it's very intentional. And so even the high prayer breakfast, a lot of things are 1-on-1 to where what was said to that audience isn't applicable to the group I was with in LA a couple of days before that, and so you have to prepare, you have to understand, you can't wing it. It's important to me, if given those opportunity. And so it's a passion to never ever waste anybody's time.
No, it's yeah. Somebody made fun of me once because you depending on the group, I'll write. I hate to say I write custom keynotes, but I'll write custom keynotes. People are like, oh, you just got to get like a canned one, and I'm like, but talking to a group of architects is different than talking to a group of scientists from talking to a group of college students. Like, so like the core might kind of be the themes might be the same, but like I want to make sure it hits home, and I hear that coming out of you. Like it's important that I don't know why else are like I don't know. There's a passion. I think you can tell the good speakers from the great speakers is that there is a little bit more like fire in the belly and that like perfection almost to a like a an unhealthy bit of perfectionism of wanting to nail it every time.
For sure, for sure. And I mean, I come from the sports world. We never take a game plan, the same game plan in week to week. Even if you play a team twice, that game plan is going to alter slightly. And so that same mindset is going to go into it. And so I'm going to look and evaluate and see exactly what's going on to be able to add value. Because a lot of times I get a chance to, work with them in a speech and then do leadership development and then do advisory/coaching work. And so if you're not, if you don't steward that whatever that first entry point is, you don't get a chance to like really add the value that comes after that, because you missed the mark, or you half did it. And so the same way Quentin's like, hey, this pierced me. I want that to be the case for as many people that are in that setting for that particular time.
That's awesome, and it's something else I want to bring up because we talked before about like defining success, and I think we agreed on kind of some of the perversion of what success has become. That like even for in that like obviously a lot of our B Corp, our stakeholders in the B local, it's small businesses, it's entrepreneurs, it's medium sized businesses, but like we've defined success as this just like relentless stacking of paper, like of nothing but like unless you hit like Bezos status or Elon status, like have you really been successful? And what I hear you saying is the exact opposite, that like you're finding, and obviously, yes, you have a family to feed. We all need to make money, pay bills. We like nice things. I like to take nice trips, but like within reason, you're saying a lot more. Like you're finding a lot of your success though in those words from a Quentin, in those words from people who hear you speak, in those words that people whose lives you might have changed with 45 minutes on stage are telling you. So talk about this, like how you define your own success in life moving forward, and like taking advantage of every minute to kind of like put things into perspective of what's really important. And I guess if you were giving advice to some of these entrepreneurs who might be listening, like how can they kind of recalibrate their definition and maybe get away from the, yes, we do need to show growth, yes, we do need to show profitability, but their own personal success, like maybe recalibrating that and recentering what they're actually trying to achieve.
Um, I mean, my definition of success, how I approach success, is the same. I tell my daughter, do your best, not in comparison to somebody else, not in comparison of what you see. Like, what is your best? And as you understand that, you can improve in the areas that make sense for you, in the areas that you care about. And so there's certain things that I'm not good at, that I'm not approaching with that same level of rigor. But the areas that I am dialed in at, um, what is the metric for me? And so if it is a chance to pierce hearts and minds, if it is a chance to help with a turnaround, is it is a chance to be a strategic partner as a company's going through change, and I can like really help them, that is the metric that I'm measuring my success by. The consequence or the result of that is someone being very pleased, someone wanting to bring you back for more, someone trusting you, someone referring. And so the sequence of that is, am I handling as much as possible that I can control with how I show up, how I develop, how I've prepared, all the things that I can control. And if I do that, I'm super confident that whatever follows that will be the intended result. But I'm not looking to go in something and say, let me game this in a way to where I can get people, to resonate with it. But it's, how can I do enough on the front end so that when I get to this opportunity, it does what it's supposed to do. The result of that will result in, what you heard Quentin said and what other people say, and the trust that comes with it.
Take a moment for that one to sink in. That's awesome. No, that's it's really cool, man. It's powerful stuff. Like I think there comes something to even be said for like the financial results. If you do the best that you can with what you have, like I think the rest of the stuff figures itself out.
Figures itself out. Because if you, I mean, there's a lot of people that are doing the best that they can and they want more, and there's a lot of people that aren't doing the best that they can and are unhappy with the results. And so just do what you can do, and be happy with that. I got, friends that are way more talented than me. And, I could drive my head crazy trying to replicate their skills, but God blessed them in a unique way. Or I can just be like very happy and developing the skills that God have given me, and just be happy and content with that to the highest ability. And so that's why it's like your best, not, once you start getting external, you start getting off center and doing things that aren't either sustainable or aren't authentic to you. You can be inspired by certain things that you can add as part of your toolkit that you can naturally do. But once you start to like go away from that, I think you get in a dangerous position.
Yeah, spot on. What about, I want to keep, because now you're just dropping gems of advice. So Um, this year, well, I mean, honestly, I blame cell phones, I blame algorithms, I blame 24-hour news, but I feel like we're inundated with like the world's on fire at all times. Like, and then the algorithm curates more news to confirm your suspicions, whatever side you're on, that the world is on fire and the other side did it. And like, what advice do you have for people right now to like take a step back and kind of like take deep breaths and like figure out, like I think your coach said to you, what was it, find your joy? Like how do we kind of take this step back? I don't even know, honestly, right now I don't know what I'm asking of, like the civility of like finding community again. But like what advice would you have for people who feel like the world's a little bit upside down and maybe need to like reground themselves?
I mean, I think people need to go to the back to the analog world just to operate in reality. of what is actually happening, not what they're being programmed, whether it's the algorithm or how their feed is set up, or whatever the case may be. And I don't think we're equipped to process as much information as we get from all the things that are 24/7 happening around us. Is just overloaded with stimulus. And I think it's a combination of two things. One, being able to get back to critically thinking. Like, is this true? Is this not true? Does it actually make sense? Is someone trying to incite it? Is it fake? Can I do a little bit more research to truly understand? And then to curate the world around you of what you want. I'm not looking for any crazy news or things that incite me. A lot of my feed is sports or is trading, funny memes back and forth, videos back and forth with friends as a way to keep up. And so I'm almost guarding myself away from the madness of things. And if I want to know something, I'm gonna go to a trusted source and do a little bit more research, or have a conversation with somebody, even if I have opposing views from them, to at least get a little more context. Whether I agree with it or not is a different story. But I do want accurate information, so I'm not just kind of being manipulated.
It is funny when I go through my feed sometimes. I've curated mine to give me a lot of like different sources. So I feel like I can understand what the arguments are. Whenever I meet somebody, I already know, I can start to figure that out and kind of at least have a sense of like, what are they reading? But yeah, sometimes I get really excited when it's like, you'll never believe what Kirby Smart said in his press conference. You're like, all right, I'll read that one.
Yeah.
It's like, or like a fantasy football tips or something where you're like, this will numb my brain for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you and I just talked before we came on about like, I mean, I just digitally detoxed for 2 weeks, no computer. I mean, I occasionally looked at my phone, but that was to like text people and like that I was meeting up with. It was incredibly amazing.
Yeah, I mean, people are arguing about things they don't understand, things that they're really not even that passionate about, things that are, I just don't have the bandwidth or the time for that. I'd rather go do something that is actually feeding my soul a little bit more.
So take a step back, everybody. Go feed your soul and go look at some funny memes.
Go on a walk. Go eat some ice cream. Listen to some music.
Words of wisdom from Mo. Well, I feel like I can keep going, but I know we're pretty much at time, man. I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story. And again, even just me personally as a speaker, like being able to interview another speaker and kind of pick your brain and talk to you. And then also though, to get to share the conversation with the world is something pretty awesome that, well, let's just say it feeds my soul. So thank you.
Hey, many blessings to you, man. Congratulations on all that you've accomplished. Wish you the best of everything that you're trying to go accomplish.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And right back at you. People watching you, and it's always weird when you meet somebody where you're like, I used to cheer for you on a TV. And then you're just like, that's a really dope human. So you and Rennie too, like Rennie and I mean, Rennie's my speaking coach. So it's kind of a small world that it all comes full circle. And now I get to cheer from you from sitting at a table at a banquet hall or something when you're on stage. So super cool, man. Appreciate it.
Dope. Well, good luck to you. Keep listening to whatever he says, and keep rocking and rolling.
I'm gonna try to get my arms to look like his one of these days, but fingers crossed.
Good luck.
Awesome, Mo. Well, appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
All right, appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
Well, that wraps up another edition of Be the Change Georgia. We're grateful, as always, for the opportunity to serve you with this content and grow this incredible community of purpose-driven B Corp leaders. If you haven't already, we would be grateful for you to rate this show wherever you get your podcasts by simply tapping the number of stars you think it deserves and sharing it with a friend. This helps us get the word out and continue to use our collective influence as a force for good. This podcast wouldn't be possible without the help from our production team at Chat with Leaders Media. Learn how you can launch your own podcast to grow your business at chatwithleaders.com. Thanks again for listening, and now go be a leader worth following.